Here we go, everybody, and then there were two. Tonight, a champion will be crowned in college basketball. Someone new will hold the throne. It will either be the Florida Gators, who have not won the national championship since their back-to-back run under Billy Donovan. Jimmy Donovan was a Browns legend. Under Billy Donovan in 2006.
He's a lot bigger than Billy.
In 07.
I thought you were going to say Chili Donovan.
Yeah, right. A lot of Donovans. Or it'll be the Houston Cougars for the first time in school history. This is the night. We're pumped to bring it to you on the Field of 68. Our pregame show. We'll have you covered postgame from inside the Alamo Dome. Jeff Goodman, Rob Douster, and I'm John Fanta. Jeff, it's Houston, it's Florida. Serving as evidence of why in November you truly don't know where the twists and turns of the season are going to go. What do you expect tonight?
You know, I'd love to say I have a great feel for this one. I don't think anybody has a great feel for this one. It's a complete toss-up. What is it, a 1.5-point spread right now? That's evidence that it's a toss-up at this point. Houston's win was dramatic, unpredictable, everything you could say about that win against Duke. You know, I think people are worried, like, how are they going to get back up? Come on, that's stupid. Like, those dudes are robots. They are tough as hell. Can Florida match their toughness? And specifically, I'm not worried about Florida's guards, Walter Clayton Jr. and Elijah Martin and Will Richard. Those guys are going to match it. It's Florida's bigs. You better come. Alex Condon, I want to see you tonight fighting early.
Look, I think that these teams match up strength on strength about as well as we've seen a matchup strength on strength in the past, right? Walter Clayton, LJ Cryer.
Yep.
You got Elijah Martin, you got Milos Uzen. You got Will Richard, you got Emmanuel Sharp. You got 17 different bigs on Houston. They can get physical. They can crash the offensive glass. They can guard. You got 17 different bigs on Florida. They can get physical, crash the glass, and guard. Both teams want to get to the offensive glass. They want to try to win games by getting extra possessions. You have two teams with guards that love to shoot up threes, right? You have Houston, who is going to try to force as many turnovers as they possibly can. You have Florida, who has proven that they've been anti-turnovers, right? I can't wait for this matchup. The thing I love about it the most is normally when we get to this stage, the Final Four, the hype, it doesn't live up to what the expectation is that we put on it, right? It's been a couple years. It's been since 2022 since we've really seen a Final Four that delivered the way we want the Final Four to deliver.
Because we had, San Diego State and FAU, they were cute stories. But once they got there, especially, listen, UConn has dominated. They have dominated the last two runs through the NCAA tournament. So finally we have it where we don't know what's going to happen. We wanted to try to say a year ago, Purdue, maybe Zach Edey, maybe, the Boilermakers can do it. But, after 10 minutes, that thing was over.
And this year we thought we knew. We thought we knew. I thought I knew.
Yes, maybe 3/4 of the way through the year, you were trying to say that, like, Auburn was this team that was historic, and the numbers did show that.
No. I've been on the Duke bandwagon since about mid-February.
Early. 3/4 in, you were trying to tell me.
Not 3/4 in,
like,
earlier
these
than that.
numbers are historic.
They
Auburn
were.
has a chance to be the best team in NCAA history.
And they had a chance to do that.
Slow your roll a little bit here. And I'm not saying I predicted Florida Houston. I'm just saying I never thought Auburn or Duke were that much better than everybody else.
Here's the thing about it. Duke was.
Really?
The issue with Duke.
You watch the ACC?
The issue with Duke was
hard to know
not.
if they were.
Hard to know, that's right.
They were up by 14 with 8 minutes left and gave a game away.
They did give a game away.
Their issue was not whether or not Duke was good enough. The issue was whether or not Duke could handle the pressure of a big moment. And we saw them over and over again not be able to handle it. But that's neither here or there.
I'll tell you what, we're at Alibi Sports and Spirits. This has been a terrific location for us these last couple of days. Want to shout out Miranda Barbecue as well. They're to our right. They're making some wonderful tacos and a variety of things. The brisket looks fantastic on the black stone. But Alibi Sports
don't get it on your white shirt.
I'm not having any.
Fana, their burn ends just changed my life.
Yeah,
it just changed my life.
Unbelievable. So to your point, there are two contrasts though, right? One contrast is tempo. Houston is 360th in tempo. Florida's 59. So when Houston, that's why Houston's so difficult to play. They put you in quicksand, and they can get your car stuck in neutral. with the way that they defend, with the way that they slow you down. And, oh, by the way, they've hit tough shots too. The other sharp contrast is what I want you to talk about, and that is a 39-year-old Todd Golden and a 69-year-old Kelvin Samson.
Yeah.
And tonight they meet, and one of these men is going to win their first national championship. What do you think of these two head coaches heading into tonight?
Well, obviously with Kelvin at 69 years old, this is probably it for him, right? This is probably his final opportunity to play for a national title. Could it happen again? I think he's got probably a year or two left before he calls it a career. He knows that. He's been reflective throughout this whole Final Four run here. And then you got Todd Golden, 39 years old. If he wins this thing, it catapults him. People look at Todd Golden as a rising star because, let's face it, he's doing it at football school.
Would he still be rising if he won a title?
I mean, no. I mean, obviously, yeah, he'd be a star at that point. But what he's done with a limited bankroll, because they don't have money like maybe Alabama did this year. Certainly like Arkansas, like Texas Tech, like some of these other, Kansas State. You know, they've got decent NIL, but what they've done to put this roster together, and they've done it with it's really interesting because they've done it with a combination of nerds and basketball guys, and it's worked.
They've done as good of a job as anybody in the sport at identifying the talent that will work with the way that they want to play, and at finding them at bargain prices, right? You know, they said the other day, there was the quote that we have never gotten a player by winning a bidding war, right? That's just not who they are. That's not how they're going to do it. They are going to find the guys where maybe they can get an edge because they can find something in terms of the way that they're shooting or some of their efficiency numbers. You know, they love KenPom. I don't think anybody loves KenPom more than the Florida staff loves KenPom.
And speaking of KenPom, Houston is number 1 in KenPom defense. Florida is number 2 in KenPom offense. The Gators are number 9 on the defensive end of the floor, with Houston being number 9 offensively. And, Jeff, that ultimately is why Houston is here, right? We've always known them to wear teams down defensively with the level at which they guard. But the biggest thing against them was, well, they don't have enough shooting. But I'll tell you what, Jeff, when they got L.J. Cryer from Baylor, it really changed the complexion of things. Not to mention Milo Shuzan from Oklahoma has been a stud for this team.
Yeah, so Cryer, when he transferred from Baylor to Houston, it was, I think at that point, it was to try to play some more point guard. And then he got there, and it was basically like, hey, you're not a point guard. You're not. You're an undersized 2. That's what you do best. And I think he probably needed to hear it from somebody else. Scott Drew was probably too polite, too nice, where my guess is Kelvin Samson hit him right over the head with it. Like, no, you're not a point guard. And with Milo Shuzan this year, I remember seeing them. They played in Vegas at that Players era. They went 1-2 there. I was there for it. And
what was their record again?
1-2. 1-2.
Now they're 35-4.
Right. I've seen half of their losses in person. How about that?
No wonder Kelvin
over
didn't like you.
over like a 5-day span. But what I even didn't realize at that point, and Kelvin told me this the other night after their win, was Milos had broken his nose and had missed like 3 weeks of practices leading up to that. Now, he didn't understand the way Kelvin wanted him to play at that point, and he was going east-west. He just didn't have a good feel for it. Now you can see it, the confidence, the comfortability. He's obviously going north-south. He'll be a key tonight because he wasn't great the other night, but they won with a mediocre performance from Milo Shuzan.
Honestly, they won with a mediocre performance with everybody on their roster.
That was 35 minutes.
That was not
the last 5 minutes.
Please
they were.
welcome
Oh boy!
Matt
here he is.
McCall.
Oh boy!
Matt McCall
Oh boy!
is here.
What,
He's
you're not wearing orange?
I'm on this side of it now, Jeff. I have to be somewhat neutral. Like I
you
can't
have to
just go in
appear
there and start
neutral. You
gator chomping and like
You
high
just did it.
fiving Al
You just
Horford
did
tonight
it.
at the game. Like I
You
can't
know
be
what?
doing that.
The good thing is he's in the middle of us, so we can gator chop him from both sides.
I'm rooting for Florida.
No.
We had their assistant coach as one of my best friends, man.
Oh, well,
None
let's
of this
talk
Sapphire
about it
was
here.
there.
Now
But
he's one of your best
before,
friends.
Before we get into that, I just want to say, as somebody that has been on this side of it, for 2 straight years watching my favorite team cut down some nets.
I kind of took a hiatus last
Yeah,
year from
took some
being
hiatus.
on this side.
Yeah, but listen,
I heard you were terrible, by the way.
That was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah.
you can go as crazy as you want. You have my permission.
Oh,
You're an alum.
gosh.
You've been there. The last time
Don't
that they won a
listen- hey.
championship, you
Hey,
won the
Matt,
championship
Matt,
with them.
don't listen
You
to
were there.
clowns.
I was there.
Don't listen to
Let's
clowns.
do it.
I had a
I'm
front
giv-
row seat.
I'm giving you
Which
permission.
Al Horford will be in the building, I've heard.
He won't even go
Wow.
crazy. No
He
Chandler
probably
Parsons,
won't.
no Joakim
Chandler
Noah,
Parsons.
no
Chandler
Billy
Parsons-
Donovan.
I heard Chandler Parsons asked for like 8 tickets and then didn't show up.
He's
So,
not
yeah,
coming.
Not coming. Not
There is
believable.
something poetic about Billy Donovan
Yeah.
and the whole Hall of Fame thing,
Very
and now
cool.
Florida's back at it, and that's just it, Matt. We're just talking about it. But before I get into the matchup with you, how has Todd done this in a matter of 3 years?
You know what? When he was hired, I'm sitting here saying, okay, West Coast guy, San Francisco, having a lot of success out there. Is this the right hire? And I said this earlier today on another show.
By the way, you weren't alone. Everyone said.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he had been
Except
at Auburn
Sean-
for a
except
couple
Sean
of
Farnham.
years.
Been for a couple years, but then he goes back to San Francisco.
Yeah.
He's an assistant out there, and then becomes the head coach. But there's a guy that if you talk to any former Florida Gator basketball player from the years 2003 till 2024, who's your favorite human being within the program? It's a guy by the name of Dave Duke Werner. Dave Duke Werner is Coach Donovan's probably best friend. Dave Duke Werner is one of my best friends. If I was ever a high major head coach, I would call him tomorrow and say, you're the chief of staff, give me the number. He gets it. He gets culture. He gets player relationships. He gets it all. He was on the search committee. Scott Strickland listens to Dave Duke Werner. He listens to him. So if Duke is saying, this is the guy,
But how did
now
Duke
I'm
know?
all in.
How did Duke
Because
know?
Duke is a guy that watches press conferences. He's not just a guy that talks to a coach for one time and says, hey, you're the guy. He's dialed in. He'll be in the media room listening to everybody's press conferences. He's really close with Matt Painter, too. They've developed a relationship. Matt Painter calls Dave Duke Werner and asks his advice on certain things and stuff. So when he stamped his approval on it, I'm like, okay, something must be a right fit here if Duke is putting his stamp on this hire.
I said it before, though. It's not like they have crazy NIL.
Nope.
And
Elijah
I worried
Martin
about it.
took less money.
Right. I worried about
Wow.
it because I thought money-wise it was going to be tough going against Bruce Pearl, Nate Oates, John Calipari in the league. I mean, I thought it was a big hill to climb. And, man, has he climbed that hill.
But, Jeff, go back to the 06-07 teams. Noah, Horford, not really that highly recruited guys.
No,
but it was the right fit. They were the right fit. Torian Green.
Nobody saw that coming.
Nobody saw it coming.
Nobody.
But they were the right collection
First
of
time I
guys
saw
that were
Joakim Noah,
couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time.
literally, he had hands of stone.
Yeah. Couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time.
It was.
But it was the right collection of guys
Yeah.
that played unselfishly.
Yeah,
That's
and
what this team does.
This team does have that. They have unbelievable chemistry. You could see it when you are, like right now, Walter Clayton's getting all the attention, right?
Right.
As he should.
And Elijah Martin could be. You could see it on his face. He doesn't care. He just wants to win a title.
That's it.
He came there and embraced his role as what? A defensive stopper. That's what Elijah Martin has been for Florida.
Will Richard the other night was, 1 for 7?
Yeah,
What was
did
his
not-
number?
did not
was
have-
changed
How
the
happy
game.
was he in the locker room after the game?
He changed the game. You know why he changed the game? It was the offensive rebound and the putback. It was the pick six steal that he had. He had another 2 plays where he came up with loose balls. And this is a guy that came from Belmont, and the reason he transferred in from Belmont was like, I can get to the high major level, and this is what's going to get me to the NBA.
But he was so happy in the locker room after the
Yes.
game when they won. And he didn't
They
play
won.
great on the offensive end of the floor.
Nope.
Unselfish.
What's interesting is we talked all season about Janai Broome and his greatness, but what made Auburn the number 1 team in the country for the majority of the year was the fact that they had not 1, not 2, not 3, but McCall, these 4 shooters that at any moment could get cooking, whether it's a Chad Baker-Mazara or Tahad Pettiford, who was held to just 1 make on Saturday by Florida's defense. In 2 meetings with Auburn, Florida held them to 14 of 47 from 3. If Florida does something similar defensively tonight against Houston, you have to think with how big Florida is inside. I think rebounding's massive, but Florida has experience of taking out a team that, okay, we know we got to account for these perimeter shooters. We can't let them get cooking because that's so much what Houston's done, Rob.
Yeah, and so much of what the Houston's offense is is like it's simple stuff, right? Like they're not running these complex, elaborate sets the way that like UConn does or Creighton does. What they're kind of doing is getting into an action, figuring out which player they want to have the ball, get them in the ball screen. If that doesn't work, get them in a DHL, whatever it is, and let them cook. You got 3 guards that can go create for themselves.
You know what Kelvin said his best offense is? He literally said, our best offense is offensive rebounds and putbacks.
Okay, so now that I'm going to be able to finish my point, you let these guys take tough shots, and if it goes in, great. And if they miss, you guys go get it.
Right.
And if you can't lay it back in, you know what you do? You kick it right back out.
Well, that was my thing in the Duke game. I'm like, okay, the only way Houston wins this game is if they get more shot attempts.
Well,
they got 8 more shots than Duke did, and they out-rebounded them by 11. I think that's a huge key tonight, too. Can Houston get more shot attempts than Florida? And Florida's a good rebounding team, one of the best rebounding teams in the country. Can Houston get more shot attempts than Florida, and do they out-rebound them?
How about the fact that I'll never be able to fathom this? Duke did not get a single rebound in the last 3 minutes of the game Saturday.
It's unbelievable.
Not a single rebound.
I know. Come on. Malawat's just, man, the foul trouble, and he was just.
He was minus 20 in 21 minutes.
It was
the
rough.
The key tonight for Florida is you can't let it be something where you're just in a jumping contest, right? I think it was Sapphire that told us that yesterday. You got to be able to lay a body on them, wedge them out, and don't let them get an angle or be able to jump for it, right? You got to Chinyelu is physical. He's muscle. He's got to make sure that he uses his ass to get JoJo Tugler out of there. Alex Condon has to be as physical as anybody.
Alex Condon needs to have a good game. He's been bad.
Yes.
Since the first round game. I think that was the only game in this NCAA tournament he had double figures. Mm-hmm. He needs to be good. He needs to have an impact on this game.
The first few minutes are going to be so important for him.
Oh, they're big.
You could see mentally in the last game, he was just shut down after the first. Janai just kept going at him, and he had no answer.
Let me tell you something right now. When you play Houston, you can't get pushed around early. You're going to be staring at a mountaintop for a good 30 minutes. Ask Tennessee what it's like when you go down 16-4 against Houston. Florida's got to come ready for this game. They got to come ready to meet the fight.
I'm so anxious to see what is Houston going to do with Walter Clayton. Like, what are they going to do? Because to start the game against Auburn, he comes off that middle ball screen, pin down action in the middle of the floor. Auburn messes up pick and roll coverage, and he drills a 3 to start the game. Mm-hmm. Like, does Houston go after him?
You would think.
I think so.
Do they deny him? Do they not allow him to even catch the ball and say, whoever's on him, you're not in help? You're not allowed to play help side defense. You are denying him the whole game. Because if he goes for 30, they're going to win.
The hard part with that is
you don't want to get beat
when they put 2 on the ball in those ball screens. If you don't have Walter Clayton as the guy coming off that ball screen, then all of a sudden you have 3 guys engaged, and where that becomes a lot of rotation. That you have to
I'm anxious with you though.
That's
why
my
wouldn't
concern.
You got to blitz him. You got to be aggressive.
Get the ball out of his hands.
Get
it out of his hands.
Make somebody else beat
Make Condon have to make decisions.
And the second they start blitzing him, I want to see Thomas Houck at the scorer's table to check into the game.
Yes.
Because he's the guy, to me, if they're going to trap him, he has been outstanding.
Yes.
If there was no Thomas Houck, Florida's not in the national championship game.
They
are not in the national championship
Well said.
game.
Because he made a 33% three-point shooter. He made 2 threes when they were down by 9 to Texas Tech. I'll tell you what is another X factor to this game, Rob. Milo Shuzan, who was in foul trouble early on Saturday and then was pretty much a non-factor.
They need him.
Why?
They need him to be out there on the floor because one of Florida's biggest strengths is their depth. I mean, Aberdeen, go back to the Auburn game where Elijah Martin didn't even play. Aberdeen was terrific.
Awesome.
He's been absolutely outstanding. He didn't have his best. He only played 15 minutes the other night, but he's been a guy that's given them a lift all season long. Houston needs to have some depth. They need other guys to step up other than L.J. Cryer.
They think that Denzel Aberdeen is their best one-on-one scorer.
Agreed.
Their best one-on-one creator.
I think a guy like Terrence Arsenault could come off the bench and give you something tonight. They're going to need that. They're going to. It's going to be interesting, again, to see if this game is played. Obviously, if it's played in the 60s, we know it's a major advantage for Houston. Can Florida get out and run? Can they get out and get something in transition? Because it is awfully hard to score against Houston in the half court.
I'm going to ask each one of you this question here, and we'll go somewhat quickly on this, but we'll start with you, and then you. Let's just play the hypothetical game here. Big picture in the sport. Houston winning this title says what to you across the sport and should say what?
I mean, Kelvin Samson overcoming adversity, man. The guy got knocked down after Indiana. I mean, when you get I don't care what happened there. You got knocked down. Like, when you get knocked down as a coach, it sucks. It sends your family through a tailspin. It's one of the hardest things you have to deal with in your life. He was the head coach at Indiana. You think about, like, where
rolling.
And it was rolling. Gets knocked down, has to go and, spend some time trying to be a scout in the NBA, spend some time on a bench in the NBA, takes over a program that was in complete shambles, and now has him in the national championship game. He preaches the word culture, family atmosphere. He has it, man. He has it. He's got his son on his staff. He's got his daughter on his staff. You see his wife out there on the floor after his game. You see his grandkids out there on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he cuts him down tonight, like, talk about a guy overcoming adversity.
It's not just that. How many transfers did Houston bring in this past offseason? Do you know? It's Milo's Uzan. One. Last year's national champion. How many transfers did they bring in the offseason?
One.
It was one.
I think there are 2 on Houston's team overall. Is that right?
I think it's Uzan and LJ Cryer.
Continuity wins.
Yes. It is about developing a culture where guys don't want to leave.
Yes.
Right? And it's hard to be able to say this is necessarily the best thing for a lot of those kids. Because, let's be frank, when you enter the portal, that's when the bidding war starts. When there's leverage, when there's demand on different sides, that's when you can make more money. For a lot of these kids, it's going to be the opportunity for them to make more money than they've ever made in their lives and will ever make in their lives, right? So that's the hard thing about it. And if you build a place where guys are willing to make sacrifices, Elijah Martin's a perfect example. Took a pay cut from FAU to go to Florida, right? Jawan Roberts sacrificed more money to stay at Houston instead of getting in the portal. That is what matters. Culture is such a buzzword in college basketball.
It's the biggest buzzword of college basketball.
And it's too cliche, but it's also the single most important thing that you're going to find. And I'm curious your guys' opinion on this.
Almost as hard as the 3 words, winning is hard.
Yeah, right. I don't know if there's a program, all things considered, that has a better culture than Houston does.
I
And if you got one,
I agree.
let me know. There's a lot with good ones. I mean, Houston, you mentioned it. That what always stands out to me when I think about Houston is not just the guys coming back. It's not just the guys not leaving in the portal. It's that Kelvin literally has his entire family. Like,
it's awesome.
You can't. It's not like Kelvin Samson that's his job. Like, that is what he is. That is what the Samson family is. Kellen's on the staff.
And
his
the women
daughter's
of
on
the
staff.
family humanize him.
Yes.
Tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, he said that. He said, I wasn't taking the Houston job unless I was allowed to bring my entire family with me, because I think his daughter was miserable wherever she was at. Kellen had been fired. So, I think it was one of those things where, again, he built this thing for sustainability. And he's never – here's the thing. I've seen so many coaches over the years give in to their culture, their morals, whether it's guys cheating, whether it's guys giving in to, hey, you know what, I can't coach them like I want to coach them anymore. I got to change because these kids have changed. Kelvin Samson's never done that.
Ever.
He's never done that. He has stayed true to who he is and who he's been since he got in at Washington State. Like, I remember him when he was at Washington State, and that's who Kelvin Samson has always been. He's won everywhere he's been. Washington State, a bitch of a job. Only he and Tony Bennett have won there. Look at what he was doing again. Oklahoma, Final Four. Indiana, they were going to be in the Final Four at some point. And now what he's done at Houston, the last 6 years.
Unbelievable.
Championship game,
Yep.
Final Four,
Multiple.
Elite Eight,
Yep.
Sweet 16.
4 Sweet 16s.
Every year, 6 years.
160 and 23 in their last
Jeff,
183 games. That's Jay Wright-like.
He's a ball coach. He's
I
gonna
don't want him to retire.
He's gonna coach in the national championship game with dirty white sneakers on and a polo that barely fit, like is all disheveled. He's
he
a
doesn't
ball
give a shit.
coach.
He doesn't care about that.
He doesn't care about anything. He's a ball
Well, you don't
coach.
care, too, after what you went through.
Yes.
When you got fired the way you did.
Yes,
and
that's my
everybody
point.
condemned you for making too many phone calls, and you had to go to the NBA and kind of,
Find yourself.
yeah, I mean, again, Popovich, it's funny that they're in San Antonio, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Greg Popovich was the one who kind of saved him.
Yes.
Kind of saved him at that point.
I will say, and by the way, quickly,
I wish Pop was
we're
here.
always thinking of you, Pop.
Yeah, I wish
Yeah,
Pop
I
was
hope
here.
he's feeling
and-
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he would have loved.
Oh,
if he was
would've
feeling
been-
great,
Literally, he would have been here.
He'd be
he would have
here.
been in that front row, right behind the, right behind the bench.
I hope he's feeling better and he's getting better. You were going to have something.
Well, I mean, we could tease this and do it after the break, but I'm curious. We all saw the video. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Houston put out this video of Kelvin Samson in 2016 when he first got the job, walking around the student union, walking around the quad, going into classes, going into the gym, and begging people to show up for the games. And they showed highlights. They showed highlights of his first games there, where they got a video of a player making a play, and there's literally not a single person in the stands behind him. I'm talking front row to top row. Nobody is there. Nobody. We got a couple gentlemen right here that are talking about
dead program.
Yeah,
Dead program.
that are Houston fans right here that drove in today from Houston.
They're
and
all
said,
driving.
Yes, if you're 2 hours away and you're not coming now for this, don't show up to our game. Like you're not a fan.
You
Like,
could rob a
make the
bank
ride.
in Houston tonight.
How
Make
loud
a
did they
ride
get
down
the other
there.
night when they started going on that run?
It's
get
so
ready.
loud.
Oh, my gosh.
So
It's a
loud.
road game for the
So
Gators.
we could do this when we get back from break. This is what I want to talk about.
It's only $150.
Where-
2
where-
hours away, you still get here.
Yeah, seriously, man. Like, where does this rank in terms of the greatest coaching jobs we've ever seen in college basketball? I'm curious. We'll talk about that coming up next.
I want my home to feel like my home. So whether I'm looking for big furniture, just a small piece for my place, or maybe some storage solutions for the basement or the garage, the answer is Wayfair. Seriously, I needed a new patio set and fire pit for my backyard. I bought it on Wayfair. It looks great on our deck, and it gives me an excuse to fire up the smoker, invite some friends over, crack a couple beers. Just last week, I bought a new chair for my office, someplace comfortable to sit while the madness takes up the 4 screens in front of me. I got it on Wayfair, clicked a few buttons. A couple days later, it showed up at my front door. They even offered to help set it up for you. Digging through online stores can be intimidating. Trust me, I know. It can be hard to find what you're looking for in your price range, but not on Wayfair. They have great options, even if you are balling on a budget like me. Wayfair has every style for every home, including mine and yours. So head to wayfair.com and shop everything home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today.
People have opinions about me, strong ones. Some compare my brand to the competition and call me a copycat. Some say that I'm just watered down, that I fall flat. I've heard it all. But the people who get me, they say I'm different, subtle, but balanced. Nothing to hide, nothing artificial. And once they give me a chance, they keep coming back for more. For more dab water. That's right, I'm talking about dab water, and I swear by it. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail made with real tequila. 100 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Find Dab Water's 4 flavors in an 8-pack variety pack or single flavor 6-packs. Dab Water invites you to enjoy its great lineup of products all tournament long. Take it from me, Jeff Goodman. Sometimes the most polarizing things are the best things. Dab Water, tequila, water, natural flavors.
Owning property in the state of Texas is difficult enough. Paying taxes on your property should not make your life any more complicated. Ownwell believes that when it comes to paying property taxes, you should only pay what's fair. In under 3 minutes, you can sign up and have their team of Texas experts start saving you money without a single upfront cost. It's easy. When you sign up, you get an instant estimate of the tax savings they can get you so that when that property tax bill comes due, the amount that you have to fork over to Uncle Sam isn't quite as painful. Put property tax money back in your pocket pocket in just minutes. 86% of customers receive a reduction with an average savings of more than $1,100. Imagine how much less stress you'll have in your life knowing that you could take some of the money that you have earmarked for the IRS and spend it on, I don't know, an 85-inch flat screen to watch March Madness. The deadline to protest is May 15th for most Texas counties. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your protest today at ownwell.com/CBB. That's OWNWELL.com/CBB.
35-4 Florida, 35-4 Houston, the class of the SEC versus the class of the Big 12 tonight, 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:50 local from the Alamo Dome.
Fired up!
It all comes down to this. Yeah, you know what? We get to do this. We get to walk in tonight. We get to cover this. And these two teams, not every time do you get two teams with a combined record of 70-8 for a championship.
Yeah, and two teams that, again, I think appreciate being here because
yes,
a lot of people can't, like, it's not like Florida's got a bunch of, like, 5-star kids. Houston,
I don't think
Terrence
Florida
Arsenault might be.
Is there a 5-star kid on the roster?
No, I don't think so.
I don't
Maybe
think
a 4-star.
Yeah.
Right, like Condon might have been like a 4-star, but their whole backcourt are mid-major guys who transferred up. Houston's got one probably in Terrence Arsenault, and he comes off the bench. I mean, there's just not a lot of guys who have had their asses kissed coming out of high school, and that the chip in their shoulder for both teams, I think, has fueled them to get here.
And look, UConn has dominated the last 2 years, 12 wins by a combined 260 points, which is just staggering. But there is something refreshing, that it's not a blue blood on either side. One coach is near the end of his coaching career. Yeah. He's definitely he's not on the back 9. He's on like the back 2 or 3. Yeah. The other coach went through a lot of crap himself this year. Yes. His team didn't let that define them, and you give a lot of credit to those guys. But before the break, we were talking about building jobs, and you wanted to dive further into Kelvin Samson. What did you think of Houston basketball 10 years ago?
Clyde Drexler, Hakeem Olajuwon.
That was more than 10 years
but
ago.
I'm saying, like, that was all I knew. Like, I didn't know anything else.
You didn't know James Dickey?
I didn't know anything else other than Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon.
Tom Penders?
I didn't know anything else. Jeff, I didn't know it. I was focused on the University of Florida. I was handing out water bottles and towels and wiping up sweat.
You were damn good at that.
Phenomenal. I actually self-proclaim myself as the greatest student manager in the history of the University of Florida program. Self-proclaimed.
I can see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see it.
Yeah, 100%. But, I mean, look, it's just like when he walked in there, he gets the job. He's overcoming everything at Indiana that he did. He had to go to the NBA and bounce around and do different things. Then he brings in his family to this program and gets this program to where it is now, getting ready to play for a national championship. I mean, I'm with you, Rob. I mean, it's one of the greatest turnarounds.
In 9 years.
Getting knocked down, getting fired, losing your job.
And technically it is a rebuilding job because they've been at the top, right? But I put what Kelvin's done in 9 years on par with what Scott Drew did at Baylor.
Not quite.
Close.
Not
quite.
I'm with Jeff on that. Close.
Well, they never won a championship.
I'd put it close to what Bruce did at Auburn.
Bruce at Auburn. Mark Few at Gonzaga is probably better. I would say Scott Drew at Baylor is probably better. I'd make the argument that Jim Calhoun building a agricultural school in the middle of a cow pasture in Storrs, Connecticut, into the power that it is, I'd put that in the same conversation. Kelvin is right there.
Yeah.
Right there. Now, being in Houston is probably easier than being in Spokane, than being in Waco, than being in Storrs. There's a lot of talent in Houston, but you had to make that talent think it's
I'm
better.
I'm going to tell you why it's not. It's
why?
A pro town. It's not a college town.
It is, but there's a lot of talent around.
No,
that's what he's
there.
saying is there's so much talent in the state.
But you have to
that
move.
Baylor, that A&M, that Texas can't get it all.
Yes, I agree with that. But the fact is, for a lot of the colleges that you just listed, the university is the only thing that matters in those respective towns for the most part. In Spokane, there's no team that's battling for attention. In Waco, I think there's a whole lot of other stuff that's how I'm just being honest here. In Houston, downtown Houston, they've got the Texans, they've got the Rockets, they've got the Astros. You know how spread out that town is? We've been there for Final Fours.
Yeah, but Tillman Fertitta was huge in helping to build this program because he put the resources in to retain Kelvin Samson.
Yes.
He could have left.
But
he
this
could
is
have
all
left.
because of Kelvin.
Kelvin
He
got
had
it going.
He had an offer.
Yes.
Where was the like? It was 2 or 3 years ago. He had an offer. I can't remember where it was, and everyone thought that he like the smoke was kind of
where it was.
Man, this might be the end of Kelvin Samson in Houston, and then
Fertitta stepped up.
he stepped up running back. But he also spent $60 million on a new basketball arena. He spent $25 million.
The old one was dumb.
Oh, it was bad. He
Jeff,
spent
Jeff,
$25 million
Remember what league they were in,
renovating.
too.
Yeah, it was the American, like $25 million renovating the practice facility.
Let me ask
Investing
you
in the
this, because
coach.
you got the best sources in the country. Sources, according to your sources.
I'm his source.
Sources.
Everything.
Foster's never my source.
If they win today,
yeah.
does he walk away?
No, I talked to his wife about it 2 nights ago. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I asked her that. I said, if he wins, does he say, like, I'm out?
Kellen, it's your turn.
And you know what? Right, because Kellen's going to be next.
He's next.
And you could leave your son a program in the best spot, right?
100%.
But she said no. He's not done. Even if he wins, he's not going to walk away. So I'm gonna trust the woman around him.
The woman that is actually running the Houston program.
I mean, both
Both of them.
his wife and his daughter. Oh my God, they are elite. They are so much fun to be around. Obviously, I told the story the other day of him playing hide and seek with his grandkids and getting stuck in the closet because his grandkids forgot about him for like 10 or 15 minutes.
I don't remember if it was Field of 68 or something else, but we had him on something. And he was like, look, when I get frustrated in practice, you know what I do? I go upstairs and play with my grandkids and let Kellen run practice. If I don't want to deal with something and practice is going bad, that's fine. I'm going upstairs to play with my grandkids.
Well, Juwan Roberts admitted yesterday that Kelvin at 69 shows a little bit. He was being part funny, but part serious. Of like he shows a little bit of grandpa in him. He'll be screaming at us for something, then he'll go to something totally different. And then about 5 minutes later, after we all forgot about it, he's like, "Hey, let's go back to your ball screen coverage." And Juwan Roberts was like, "That was like 4 conversations ago." But you know what? You could tell how much he loves his players because he doesn't lose kids to the portal either.
Right.
He's only lost 3 in the last 10 years. Like, Juwan Roberts, Jeff, is just a winner.
Yeah.
He's a freaking winner.
And those are the guys that, again, when you talk about culture, like Roberts' face should be on that poster.
Oh.
Like he is going to go down as one of the greatest Houston Cougars of all time if they win tonight because he was so critical in building this program and the continuity and the toughness and I mean, those free throws he made the other night.
Oh, my gosh.
Like how ridiculous is that, bro?
I didn't think
Your
he'd make
career 65%.
The first one, when it was that line drive, I was like, ooh.
1-1. Like the pressure on that kid.
Oof. We just watched Proctor miss the front end of a 1-1.
Yes.
Right? Like, and you think this guy's going to, and he sit there and goes like this.
But that's what
Everybody
Kelvin
calm
has.
down.
Kelvin has that toughness.
By the way, that was no one. We didn't talk about that enough. Well, after he made the first one, he's like, "Shut up."
The whole place is going nuts.
He's like, "Shut up!
Like,
I got one more to make."
And then he makes the second one.
he's
He
like,
does the
"Shut
same
up,
thing.
We got to get a stop.
He just
shut up. It's not over yet.
You know what it's called too? Maturity.
Yes.
Maturity,
100%.
man. They had it, and that's, again.
You're not able to win that game without it.
And after all that, who got the stop on Cooper Flagg?
Now, that's a question to you, McCall. You've watched Florida more than probably any of us here. The maturity of Florida in this moment, because I don't think Houston's going to be flustered. Certainly after the other night, they proved that. Again, and Alex Condon. Walt's not going to be flustered. We know that. But the rest of the team, do you worry at all about the moment being too big for them?
I don't. Elijah Martin's been here.
Yeah.
Elijah was one possession away from playing for a national championship. One possession. And I know you interviewed him yesterday, and I was talking to him the last couple of days too. Like, he's here to win. Like, he's not caught up in the hoopla. I think that's one of the things that benefited Florida the other night was, like, he's been here. Todd Golden hasn't been here. Todd Golden's whole staff hasn't been here.
I'll tell you what, you're around Todd Golden, and you're like, I can't believe this dude, the way he acts, hasn't been here.
Exactly
he is so loose, and I think it rubs off on that team.
Exactly.
They're not. He's more loose than they are.
100%.
The players.
Well, look at the 2 teams who won Saturday. They were both down at halftime. They were both in a tough spot at halftime, respectively. You thought Duke, Houston, even at halftime, you're like, it's a Duke coronation. And Auburn, the way they played in the first half, the way that Janai Broome was dominating with 12 points, you're sitting there saying, Oh, boy. I mean, this is the Auburn that we thought we would see. How many times you think, I know we can't look it up, but, like, how many times are you going to see two teams make it to the national championship game in which they both trail the game during the tournament by 9 with 3 minutes to go? Florida did it against Texas Tech, and Houston did it against Duke.
Well, Jeff yelled at me the other night for 2 reasons. 1, for playing golf with Robbie Hummel. 2, for saying that Florida was the most connected team. But I think right now, when you look at this Final Four,
oh, here we go.
Florida and Houston have been the 2 most connected teams.
agree.
To be able to overcome the deficits in the second half, to be able to be down 6 with a minute to go, you got to be connected and you got to have toughness, and that's what Houston has.
That's why your question about do they get phased by the moment.
Right.
Explain what you mean by connected real quick.
Just celebrating each other's success, not caring who gets the credit. Like sometimes when you see Baker Mazzara, who I guess announced today he's going back to Auburn for, what is he going to be, 27, 28? Yeah,
did he announce it?
I thought I saw that somewhere on X that he was going back to Auburn.
26.
But when you celebrate each other's success, when you don't care if you're Will Richard and you go 1 for 7 from the field and you're still going out there competing, when you're in the locker room and everybody's happy, when the timeout happens and the entire bench gets up and is going and celebrating, when something's going bad and the entire bench gets up and they're still welcoming your team off the floor, that's a team of connection.
How much of that, too, is due to the fact that a lot of these guys in Florida are done. Their eligibility is over, so they don't have to think necessarily about, like, portal, potentially, or any of that. They don't have 8.
I mean, it's just 3 of them,
about
right?
NBA,
the 3 guards.
The big 3.
But the big 3.
I mean, Howe's supposed to be back. Condon's supposed to be back.
That's so important in this day and age. And I guess, listen, whether it's portal and an agent or whether it's the NBA, I mean, Walt's certainly playing to boost his stock. Elijah Martin's playing to try to get to the NBA. There's always something, and that's what's, to me, so impressive about this Florida team.
But now that these are professionals, right? Now that we are paying them to play, we can call it NIL if we want, but now that we are paying them to play, these guys are accepting jobs where they getting paid to do a role, right? When Elijah Martin comes in, yes, obviously he wants to get to the NBA. He's also getting paid a shitload of money to be able to come in and say, you're going to be our defensive stopper, you're going to make some threes, you're going to get out in transition, you're going to be our hustle guy. And when you tell them you are getting this X amount of dollars to prove you can play a role, they're agreeing. The teams that are successful have guys that buy into that role. And the other part of it is a lot of them understand if you are still in college, if you hit the portal and you don't go to the NBA and have them say, you're coming, we're going to draft you, you know when you get to the NBA, if you get to the NBA, you have to be a role player. If Elijah Martin's playing at the next level, he's going to be doing what he's doing right now at that level. And if you sell them on that and say you're going to be very well compensated, perhaps more than what you would get on a two-way to come in and do that job here, you better do it. And if you do it well, then you're going to have more success later on, because this is now the minor leagues. It's like succeeding in Europe. You know, it's not just going to be the guys that score a ton of points that pop off. It's going to be the guys that NBA talent evaluators say, look, he's 6'4", he guards, he plays a role. I want him on my team next year to do that same thing.
At the Field of 68, we don't just cover college basketball season during the season. We cover college basketball 365 days a year, giving you the latest stories, the latest portal developments. So follow us throughout the offseason, where we just have some breaking news. We just tweeted it at the Field of 68. Mohamed Diabate, the Alabama stalwart defender, one of the guys that gave them physicality, is transferring to
Kentucky. Great get for Mark Pope. I mean, he's one of the best, frontline defenders in the country. Tough. It's what Mark Pope wants is to build a program. And, he had really good defenders really on the perimeter last year. Now he adds one of the best frontline interior defenders in the country in Diabate. I love the pickup. I love the pickup because you can build around him. Like, to me, you need a guy like that on every team.
Yeah, I mean, no question about it. I mean, but this is the problem when you get a chance and an opportunity to play for a national championship. You're not worried about these guys that are in the portal right now. You're not worried about it.
I don't know. Jonathan Safir, he's still following that portal. Trust me. You've got somebody on both staffs. It may not be Ty Golden and Kelvin Samson.
I hope not.
But you better have somebody.
I hope not.
And
I
they
hope
do.
not.
Well, so here's
the
but hold on,
yeah.
just about Kentucky. So not only have they landed Mohamed Diabate, but they brought in Pitt transfer Jalen Lowe.
Question mark.
They brought in Pitt transfer Jalen Lowe. They brought in Tulane transfer Cam Williams. They have Jasper Johnson coming in. They have a Caden Lewis coming in. Like they already have a ton of bodies.
Those are freshmen. Like I don't. Honestly,
But Jalen Lowe is the big one.
Right.
Jalen Lowe was a
Agreed.
really good player.
But like to me, I don't. Maybe I'm crazy, but because Duke did it. Duke did it with a special freshman class. There are a couple freshmen in this group that are special, right? Darren Peterson, I've been talking about him for a year now.
Yep.
AJ DeBonsa, incredibly
BYU.
talented. We'll see what happened at BYU. The Boozer twins, they're in a different class. They're in that elite class of freshmen. I wonder how much the Jasper Johnsons, that next group of freshmen, what the impact's going to be. You better build around transfers still, unless you're talking about that elite group.
That's why he got Diabate. That's why he got Jalen Lowe. That's why he got Cam Williams. You still, I'm assuming, got Trent Perry and Trent Noah, Travis Perry
those
coming
guys
back.
will be a year older.
Otega Owe.
Yep.
Brandon Garrison. So you still have some of that continuity.
Always huge.
Yes.
Always huge coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I cannot wait for tonight. Cannot wait to get rolling. We're
How
going to
long we
take
got
one
now?
more break, and then we're going to get these guys' predictions, who they've got winning tonight. Everybody is waiting for tip-off, which comes just about 2 hours from now. We got some Florida Gator chomps.
My man Chomping. Come on.
Houston
Come on over here,
fans say,
Chomp.
Come on over and
Come
chomp.
on.
Come on over. Come on. Get me out. I need both fans here.
We need
Both
Chomp.
fans. All right. Who's winning tonight?
Cougs by 10.
What do you got? What do you got?
Houston can't score with Florida. Florida by 10.
Can you give us a chomp?
What? Oh, absolutely.
There it is.
Right over left always.
Chop right in his face, please.
Okay. We'll be right back to get game picks after this.
Win by 6.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today. College basketball fans, are you ready to take your hoops game to a new level? Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just trying to win your March Madness office pool, Rhythm is here to give you the edge this season. With data-driven predictions for every single college basketball game left on the schedule, Rhythm helps you maximize your bets. And as March Madness kicks off, Rhythm's insights will help you spot those plucky Cinderellas that you know are going to shake up the NCAA tournament. But that's not all. When Selection Sunday rolls around, let Rhythm's AI-powered bracket generator do the heavy lifting for you. This is the same AI tool that performed 35% better than the average ESPN bracket last year. And here's the best part. Rhythm pairs perfectly with our Field of 68 expert analysis, giving you the 1-2 punch that you need for the rest of the college basketball season. So don't wait. Download Rhythm today and get ready to see college basketball and your betting results in a whole new light.
Here we go. Write a headline. Give us a game pick. Rob Doster, what will be the headline at the end of this night?
What did I tell you yesterday? Florida's golden era.
Florida's golden era. The Gators get it done. What's the score?
I'm going to say 76-63. I think we get a thriller. I think we get a fantastic game. And my prediction is
76-63.
76-73, sorry.
Oh.
I won by 6.
I was
won by
gonna say
3.
13 wouldn't be a great game.
No, I won by 3. And I think the key is going to end up being that Florida's bigs win the battle on their defensive glass. They get enough stops that allow them to get out in transition, that allow them to play at pace, that allow them to get enough easy baskets before Houston has their defense set. I got the Gators winning.
Put up a big moment. Does Clayton have one more?
Clayton's got the game winner.
Wow.
With 5 seconds left, he hits a step-back three over Milos Uzan.
If he does that, that contends with Chalmers.
Hey.
If he does that, and that would be the best tournament by a guard since Kemba.
I mean, what this guy has done is incredible, especially, again, a kid who started at Iona, and to do what he's done every single game when teams know exactly who's going to get the ball in these moments, and he's still making these plays. I'm just going with I want to chop you one more time. One more time. I just want to chop you one more time. What? With the mic?
Yeah. Chomp.
With the mic?
Did you want that one more time?
All right, well. It's all right.
I just picked Florida to win.
It's okay.
I
still want to chomp
It
you.
was his UConn.
He just
reminder.
likes to do the chomp.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead,
I do.
McCall.
He likes to do the chomp.
Hey, wait. We know what this headline
Yes,
This
yes.
is
Excuse me.
Oh, here he goes.
It's great to be a Florida Gator. Say it's great to be a Florida Gator. Say it's great. I thought people could hear me. They can't hear me.
over there. You're not
Nobody
loud
can hear
enough.
me. Nobody can hear me.
no
I
one
tried.
reacted.
I tried.
You tried.
You tried. One of them
It's all
tried.
right. It's all right.
All right.
It's a good
You
effort.
guys,
anyway.
great to be a Florida Gator. All of them have picked Florida.
Which means
I
Fana.
really thought they were going to try.
Which means Fana's going the other way because he
All of
did
them
this
have
last
picked
time
Florida.
in
over
Michigan
there. That's my
State.
guy.
Yes,
Remember?
yeah. But they did it a couple years ago, and Carolina pulled it off. Now,
did.
Florida was my original pick in the bracket.
Yeah, mine too.
You got to stick with it. You can't change your pick in the bracket.
I think it was better that no one got going and you just kept
Yeah.
doing it. You
I got to
to
stick
go.
with
We're
it,
trying,
right?
man.
Is that
My
the
guy
rule?
Alan Trammell behind me. That's my boy. I've known him. His dad played football with my dad at Florida. He had my
He
back.
didn't help you out.
Is that
He
the
tried.
rule?
Yeah.
You can't back away now.
No.
So you know what it is?
Wow, all of us going with Florida?
It's not Walter's world. Tonight, it's Martin Madness. Elijah delivers a big-time play and gets his due for
Did we
taking a
all,
little
did
less
we all
money.
just pick Florida?
All four are on the Florida Gators to win the national championship.
I can't believe
That's
that.
going to do it for us, everybody. We are on
Even
after
my guy
Chris
over here,
Hughes.
He didn't start chanting
It's
with
going
me.
to bet
What's this
Houston.
guy? We
Well, I
brought this
can't
guy on the
back
show.
away
He didn't
from
start
it.
chanting with me.
I don't feel good about the pick at all.
No, how can you feel great? This is a complete
Toss-up.
toss-up game. I can't wait. Here a couple hours we got to go. We'll see you after, right?
Yes, we will. Let me get you hyped up here, America. This is what it's all about. Two Titans that have been phenomenal all season long. A combined record 70-8. One coach. How many more of these is he going to have in his career? It could very well be it. His style's been predicated on toughness. At times in the NCAA tournament in recent years, people say they don't score enough. They'll never be able to cut down the nets because toughness doesn't always win. You got to have offense. He addressed it. He brought in Milos Uzan. That kid's changed a lot. Emmanuel Sharp is razor sharp in key moments. And LJ Cryer can make the other teams cry, tears of sadness tonight, and Houston Cougars fans tears of joy. And on the other side, it's Florida. Golden's glory. The Gators have had a heck of a season. People have said, I don't know about this Florida team. No, what you do know is this. They have the best damn player in the country in this tournament, and his name is Walter Clayton. Elite guard play, stellar front lines, physicality personified, a coaching juxtaposition, fan bases that have traveled well. It's not blue bloods, it's new blood for a title this evening. We'll talk to you after the game. Let's crown a champion tonight.